Question, the member for Davenport.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is for the Premier. Yesterday, the member for Brantford-Brant took to Twitter, apparently shocked and confused by stories of cancelled courses at schools in his riding, and he pleaded with constituents to tell him if they have had courses cancelled so he could, quote, see what's going on. Speaker, I can help explain what's going on. The Grand Erie District School Board has already told 21 elementary teachers and 84 secondary teachers they won't have jobs this fall. Students in every community will be directly impacted no matter which side of this House their MPP sits on. So far, the Premier has refused to take responsibility for these painful cuts, Mr. Speaker. Will he listen to his own members?
Questions to the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, the MPP from Brantford's an absolute champion. I've been out there. The people love him. He's created thousands of jobs in his riding. He's listening to the people. He's instrumental in turning this province around. He's a true leader in our caucus. But, Mr. Speaker, I just want to remind the opposition, we increased education by $700 million, Mr. Speaker. You know, it's simple. Anyone can figure 2 plus 2 out. Maybe the opposition can't figure out what 2 plus 2 is.
Opposition, come to order.
We're creating more spots for education, putting money back into the classroom. It's very simple. You add up the teachers, and all the teachers in the province is roughly 200,000 of them. Guess how many students are? There's 2 million. Do the math, Mr. Speaker.
Response?
That's 1 in 10. 1 in 10. We're putting money back into the classrooms. Not all the layers of bureaucracy. Not all the school boards that sit there.
Thank you. Thank you. Supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I think the Premier needs to go back and learn how to read a budget, because we are seeing the impact of these devastating cuts in our classrooms today, and it's only getting worse every single day.
Government side, come to order.
Impact of these cuts.
I apologize to the member for Davenport for having to interrupt her. I ask the government members once again to come to order. Start the clock. Member for Davenport.
I appreciate that it's difficult news for the government, but every day the devastating impact of these cuts is more apparent, and every day this Premier and his Minister of Education deny and deflect and delay. Well, next week, as members opposite head back to their ridings, they'll have to answer to their own constituents about why they want to shortchange our kids. Cutting courses, cutting supports, reducing one-on-one time with teachers. Will the Premier use next week to rethink this disastrous plan and come back with one that will strengthen our public education system and put students first?
Premier.
You know, the member in the opposition, they keep saying cuts. What cuts? They can't name any because there hasn't been any, Mr. Speaker. We've increased $700 million. I'm going to send them to a math class, each and every one of them, because they can't add. It's $700 million we're putting back into education. But that's not it, Mr. Speaker. We're putting $1.6 billion more in education, protecting every teacher's job. I can't wait till September, so all the rhetoric and nonsense that we've heard from opposition, all the rhetoric we've heard from the teachers' unions that don't have the teachers' best interests. You know, Mr. Speaker, in September, we're going to say, we told you so. There wasn't any cuts. We're putting more money in education, more money into the classroom. That's what it's about. And we're in this shape because they spent $15 billion.
Stop the clock. House will come to order. Start the clock.